All right, this is Sylvie and her week 3 recap. I love warming her up real quick with just charging our clicker, really just setting the tone for training. At this point, she knows what that click means. Okay, Sylvie, good. Going right into tossing those release cookies and playing the flying cookie game. Okay, Sylvie, good. So as soon as I call her name, she turns to give me attention. That's when I'm clicking and feeding her at my side. Okay, Sylvie, good girl, babes. All right, ready, one more. Okay, Sylvie, sit. Good girl. So this week with our sit, we're still doing it with that verbal cue, coming in with our duration, and one to release her. Okay. Sylvie, sit. Good girl. When she pops up like that, I would just ignore it. We're not going to mark it. We're not going to feed it. I'm just going to wait for her to get back into position. Good girl. Okay. And I will say she loves the food, loves it. So she is very excited to work for food, which is amazing. You just will find that she might get a little bit more excited during training and potentially not sit as still. But as she continues to grow, okay, she will build that duration of staying in a nice, calm sit. We just need to make sure we're not capturing any of the negative, so the jumping or the whining. Good girl. Okay. Sylvie, touch. Good job. So working with our hand targets this week, we really are getting that duration or that distance. So tossing those cookies. Okay. Sylvie, touch. And asking her to come in for that hand target from across the room. Again, I'm still making sure that I use both of my hands so that she doesn't start to favor one over the other. Okay. Sylvie, touch. Good girl, love. Yeah, good job. All right, and then with our down for this week, we are going to troubleshoot some things. So I'm going to start by just asking for that verbal. Sylvie, down. What a good girl. Now, she hovered a little. She was hovering for sure. But I used my verbal plus my hand motion to get her into position. But she did kind of slide back into it. The elbows weren't completely hitting the ground. But approximations, I want to take that little win because of this bouncy mobile behavior. And we will gradually build that into a more steady, solid down. What a good girl. Okay. Down. Very good job. So clicking and feeding her in position, even though she bounced up a little. I want her to be fed in this down. Okay. And as you could see when I first asked for that position, she didn't get into the position right away. Instead of asking her for it again, okay, I just used that hand signal again, and then she got herself into position. Down. Very good girl. So let her think about it because she will do it. Good girl. Good job. Okay. Good job, baby. So we just have to continue working through that. Ask for your verbal first. If she doesn't get into position, don't say it again. Just use your hand signal. And then once she's in her position, make sure to mark and feed her. If she pops out of that down, just make sure to get her back into the down for the food. Put your mat. Good job, lovey. Good. So with our mat this week, I want to see that she's at least getting into a down before I do that first click. Okay. Go to your mat. Good. I dropped that. I know. Good job staying on your mat. And then we also are gonna start practicing getting some steps away. Now again, with her, she's so excited. She really wants that food. We do have to break these steps down a little slower. So just a partial step back. Good. Click and feed her for that. Another partial step. So close to jumping off the mat. Okay. So when that happens, I want to take a win. I want to take a successful repetition, and then I want to release her myself so that she's not learning to go on her own. Okay. Go to your mat. Good job. You silly. So a half step back. Good. You are right on the edge, babe. Okay. Go to your mat. So with these little movements, it is telling me that she's not ready for me to take too much more as far as taking steps go. So this will be a little bit slower of a progression for her, which is totally fine. Oops. Very good girl. Okay. So what happened there in that last round is I did try to just take that left step back, and she kind of followed my motion and popped off the mat a little. I cued that with an oops or an uh-oh. I cued her back over to her mat. I'm not gonna feed her right away because I don't want to feed the fact that she left her mat. Then I'm gonna try that behavior again, maybe not as far of a step. Go to your mat. And then once I get a nice successful repetition, then I will release her again. Good girl. Okay. And again, she's so mobile. So she's popping up when I take those steps, but not quite leaving the mat that last time. She's coming right to the edge, which isn't perfect, but she's a puppy. She's still learning. So we will get there. We will get to the point where she can stay in this nice down and we could take steps around the room without her trying to leave the mat on her own. Hi, baby. Okay. Next thing I want to work on is going to be her crate. So this week for the crate, we're working on loading her in and out, being able to shut the door, and same as the mat, trying to get some steps. Sylvie, kennel. Good girl. So clicking and feeding for initial forepaws in. Clicking and feeding for that door being shut. I want to build some duration with the door shut. Good girl. And then for this rep, I'm going to release her. So I have 2 pieces ready. One for her staying in there. Right there, babe. Right there. And the final, okay, to let her out. Kennel. Good girl. And then this is where I might take some steps. So step away. Step away. Good girl. And then again, have my 2 cookies ready. Good girl. Okay. Good job. Kennel. And make sure that when you start practicing your steps away, we're not making any type of big deal about the fact that we're going to move. Good girl. I would just take your step. And as long as she isn't whining, crying, pawing, doing anything negative, then we can click and come back and feed her. Such a good girl. All right, 2 pieces ready. Good job. Okay. Good job, Sylvie. Yeah, that was really good. You got the spins? Yeah, you doing some spins? All right, babies, careful. The next thing I want to do is get Sylvie in her harness. So with the harness this week, come here, up, We have our leash attached. This week I'm gonna hold the leash. Last week we let her drag the leash. This week we're really gonna start to work on movement as if she were on a walk. Good girl. And also ask for some behaviors while she's on her leash. Wow, good girl. Ready? Okay. Good job, baby. All right, so while she's focused on some food, I'm gonna pick up that leash and stand up. Then I'm just gonna go back to having her follow a food lure. Good girl, baby. Good job. Good girl. So that entire time I maybe had 4 or 5 pieces of food, okay, in my hand. And she was attached to that food the entire time. When I clicked, I dropped 1 piece out and immediately was able to reattach her to another piece of food. Sit. Good girl. So this is where we might ask for those position changes. Good job. Ready? Touch. Touch. Good job, lovey. All right, what about a down? Do you think we could do it? Sylvie, down. Let her think. What did she just ask me to do? Hand signal. You got it. Oh boy. And if she's really struggling with the leash being on and getting into that down, I'll bring the food back out. Good job. Okay. That is typically going to be your steps of troubleshooting. So you ask for that verbal cue first. She maybe doesn't listen to the first time, so then we try that hand signal. If she doesn't listen to the hand signal, then I might lure as if I went back to having food to get her into position. And if she still doesn't get in her spot, then get that food back out and use the food to lure her into her position. Hi, lovey. Okay. And then getting your harness off. Same thing we've been doing. Good job, Hicks. Go get your snacks. Oh my goodness. You're doing great. All right, and then the final thing we'll recap right now is her handling exercises for the week. So with our handling, we reviewed everything that we covered over the last 2 weeks. So make sure we're still practicing that restraint. So a gentle hand under her belly. He's so excited. Right here. Yeah, good girl. Duration. Yes, good job. So the duration of maybe 5-6 seconds at this point. I'll go back to lifting her tail. Yes, good job. Really work the ears. So adding some massage, maybe putting my finger right at that opening. Move it around. Yes, good girl. I'll do the other ear now. That food is so good, right? Yes, I dropped it. All right, and then looking in her mouth, she's focused on that food, really getting in there. Yes, good girl. Repeat the same thing on the other side. Yes, good job. Okay, a little break from that. With the brush this week, we moved on to the bristle side. So as like a little warm up, I'll do the flat side first. Good girl. And then immediately get my bristle side. Doesn't care. Good girl. Remember to practice in all the places that she will need to be brushed. So the brush coming up towards her head. Good girl. I want to also make sure I can approach her from the front with the brush. Good job. Okay. then with our nail trimmers this week, we've been working on trimming some of the nails. So the way that I'm going to do that, I want to get Sylvie up in my lap. I'm going to have my food set aside over here. She's a little wiggly to start, but then she does kind of settle in. And now I already trimmed all of these nails yesterday, but the way I would do it is bring my nail trimmer in, trim, yes, and then give her a snack. Good girl. The way I might practice on the other side. So find my nail. You're such a brave girl. I don't think I got that one. Yes! Good job. Yeah, pretty girl. You're so good. And now I've been doing this a really long time at my other job, at the training. Yes! So right now I'm able to do it by myself. Okay. But for you guys, I would suggest having a helper. So someone who could hold Sylvie and then the other person coming in and trimming her paws. Okay. Good job, love. And then the final thing we did this week was introduce a different grooming tool. So this week we introduced our noisy grooming tool. So I'm using some clipper blades. Now with her breed, she will have to go to the groomer. They likely will use clipper blades to shave down her fur. So having her used to this sound now is really important. That way when she gets to the groomer, she's not scared when they turn them on for the first time. So the way we're going to get her used to this, clipper blades are going to turn on behind my back, muffle the sound a little bit, and then I will start dropping some food. So they are on. I'm going to just toss some food in different directions. She wants to come in for more food, even though the sound is coming from this direction. Good girl. After that final piece, I'm going to turn the clipper blades off, and then I want to set them out for her to explore. So she can check those out, sniff them if she wants. Now, like I said, she's super food motivated, so all she cares about right now is the food itself. So after a few seconds of a break with that, I will go ahead and turn the clipper blades back on. Good girl. I might bring them out to the side so that they're a little bit louder. Good job, baby. Good girl. And then again, set them out for her to explore, check it out if she wants to. This concept can be applied to anything else that makes a noise, so the blow dryer as well. I would recommend that we do the same thing with the blow dryer, have the blow dryer on at a distance though, so not as close as the clipper blades were. The blow dryer is a little bit louder and dogs tend to not like that a little bit more. So the blow dryer is going to start off at a distance, airflow is facing away from her. As soon as the blow dryer is turned on, then you will drop some cookies for her one at a time. After maybe 4 or 5 pieces, we'll turn the blow dryer off, give her a few seconds, and then do the same thing. As she is starting to show she's not as nervous about that noise, we can start to gradually bring the blow dryer closer. Again, with the air facing away to start. Good girl. That's it for our week 3 recap. Make sure that once your puppy comes home that you go on and book your Zoom. Typically, I recommend having the puppy home for a week, come up with your questions, and then book your lesson. Alrighty. Good girl. You did great, Sylvie.